All right. I just finished Gin Patrol on the Purple Line by Deepa Anapara. And wow, it was that's some you want to talk about some heavy reading because it's based on reality and it's about people living in the Bastis in India, and she doesn't pull any punches, and it basically children start disappearing, and it's seen through the eyes of a child and his friends who are trying to be detectives and figure out where their friends have gotten to. And um, ultimately, it takes a very dark turn at the ending. Toward the ending, it's not what I would call a very hopeful book at all. But it is eye opening, and it allows insight into a culture that I'm not familiar with or wasn't familiar with. And so it has value, but I don't even know how to rate it. It's like I was looking on Goodreads and I'm like, how do you rate a book that is solid? It's well written. But it's so disturbingly real, and it's so dark that I couldn't even rate it. I can review it, but I can't rate it. Does that make sense?
I guess.
I just like, anyway, it was a very difficult book. And then I just finished, before that, I read Being Seen by, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce her name correctly, probably, Elsa Shunyason. I don't know. It's Sjunneson.
Unison.
Shunyason. Okay. So this is one deafblind woman's fight to end ableism. It's basically a book that is a memoir about activism in the respect that she talks about her own activism and she talks about her own challenges, and it was very eye-opening. Oh gosh, this is a terrible thing to say. It was an awakening for me in many ways to see the world through her perspective and to experience the world through her perspective. And so she talks a lot about the tropes in media that show blind and deafblind people and deaf people in a way that dehumanizes them. So she talks a lot about that, about the tropes and things like that. And that was very kind of mind blowing for me because I had never really seen it from that direction. So that was good. And then since we met, I also read The Huntress by Melinda Lowe. It's it's fantasy and it's YA, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. The story was really imaginative, and there's quite the journey in it, and there's character arc, but I wasn't able to engage with the characters on a level that I like to engage with my characters. So that was a little tough for me. And then I read Dust and Grim by Chuck Wendig. And boy, I'll tell you, his voice in this book is all 100% Chuck doing his blog voice, right? It's so thoroughly Chuck Wendig that it's just fun to read because he's fun to read when he's being that. Uh, Again, I didn't really quite connect with the characters, and I thought the 14-year-old girl seemed a bit old. I get why he did it that way, but it was very imaginative and a good story, and I do recommend it. I wouldn't. It's not quite at that level what you were talking about. It's not the blow you away kind of
Yeah,
book,
yeah.
but it was a real good read. It was solid. And the other one I read since we've met would be Gender Outlaw on Men, Women, and the
Goodness.
Rest of Us by Kate Bornstein. And that was another one that really kind of blew my mind and opened me up in a way to understanding trans culture and and it's a memoir, so it's Kate Bornstein's memoir as well. And she actually originally wrote this quite some time ago, so this is a revised and updated edition that I read, and I quite liked it. it was very meaningful, and I feel like it gave me an additional window into the world, into a world that I want to understand better, but haven't been able to before. So there you go. So
Heavy reading.
yeah, I guess I have done a fair amount of heavy reading too, my own kind of heavy reading. So yeah, so that's what I've been reading.
Good. How's the writing?
The writing's going well. I just finished some last minute revisions to the work in progress, Lost and Found. We have a cover, so we'll have a cover
Cool.
reveal coming soon, I hope. But we have artwork for the cover. I'm very excited about that. And I am ready to get that done and put to at least get it back as a proof so that I can do the final go
Good.
through.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that'll be out in the spring, is my understanding. So,
Pointed looks here.
well, that's my, you know, it's with the way of the world right now. Getting a book out into the world is not an exact
Oh, I know.
science at all.
It's not easy, and it takes time, more time than you might expect.
And things happen,
Yeah.
you know, and all things being what they are. So, so basically, I'm going to focus next on getting my anthology done, my shorts.
Good.
My shorts done. Woohoo! How about you?
Pushing 40,000 now on Proud Waves Be Still. Taking some unexpected turns.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, Henry's going to go back on his promises and take direct action.
All right. Well, you know, that's the fun part of it, is
Yeah.
letting your characters have some free reign and seeing where it takes you.
Like I say, I have certain events that I have to hit,
Right.
but how those events affect different characters. I mean, one of the big dilemmas is that Emmeline's actually going to sanction this because they've attacked her husband. But
nice.
as a good Quaker, now she's worried about her immortal soul, of all things, because that's totally contrary to her teaching.
Yeah.
And so that's a big internal conflict for her. But she doesn't want those men to go unpunished.
I can understand that.
So yeah, it's fun.
So
Time has been an issue for me, and then when I have the time, energy has been an issue for me.
I hear that. Oh boy, I hear that. Yeah. So, so this is historical fiction. I expect it to be pretty dense. Like, I mean,
The hard part for me, because I tend to go down these rabbit holes, is how much detail do you put in, and how much do you leave out?
right.
For instance, Henry carries a Lamat revolver. But what is that? Well, it's a particular weapon that, was very popular actually in the Confederacy during the war. He has one because he acquired it as part of investigating this big arms shipment of these things that's being sent to the Confederacy. It's a pretty formidable weapon. It's a 9-shot 42 caliber pistol.
I didn't know they had 9-shot pistols back
It's a
then.
9-shot 42 caliber pistol, and then an underslung 20 gauge shotgun barrel.
All in one.
That is loaded with
How did I not know this existed?
15 buckshot balls. And there's a selection lever on the hammer that flips the striker up and down to go from one barrel to the other.
Wow.
This thing is a nasty piece of work. It's very popular with Confederate cavalry.
Wow.
And so that becomes an important, thing. But how do you put that detail in without getting, into this deep
Right.
description of the thing?
Right. Right. You're going to have to trim that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean,
You'll want to
I've
put it in,
already
but
done it. I think it becomes important because it's a big part of his decision to get involved, to take out the bad guys. Because McGuire, the detective, has always been ready to do this, and question to Henry is are you armed? And he pulls this thing out of a drawer, and it's like, that is some serious artillery there.